Are you looking for a space where you will learn to improve your mental strength, emotional health, and heal your insecurities from the inside out? Take the first step to living a more meaningful life with the Better Me with Body by Bree podcast. I'm your host, Bree. I'm a certified personal trainer, entrepreneur, and mother of 3. I've helped empower thousands of women to take action through fitness, nutrition, meditation, personal development, and aligning thoughts with action. This podcast is for those who are ready to feel inspired and motivated to live a more purposeful life. Let's grow together. Welcome to the Better Me with Body by Bree podcast, where we dive deep into the tools and strategies that empower you to take control of your health and well-being. Today, we're tackling one of the hottest topics in the wellness world right now, Ozempic, also known as semaglutide or another common GLP-1 known as tirzepatide. It's a medication making waves for weight loss, but there's more to the story than quick results. We'll explore the benefits it promises, the dangers that come with it, and how to navigate your fitness and nutrition journey if you're considering or already on this medication. Let's break it down together because it's not just about weight loss, it's about making sure you are healthy from the inside out. For the last 4 months, I have dug deep into the peptide world, learning from workshops, podcasts, research journals, and interviewing top experts in the field. And I wanted to share what I found with all of my followers so that they can make an informed decision for their own health. It's important for me to cover all the risks, the benefits, and firsthand experiences to bring a very raw and vulnerable insight. This episode is part 2 of a 3-part series all about the truth behind GLP-1 medication, the benefits, risks, and what you need to know. In this episode, I interview 4 clients who have had personal experiences with GLP-1s and their stories. I wanted to highlight Alyssa, who lost 60 pounds on semaglutide and then weaned herself off and kept her results by training with the Body by Bree team and focusing on lifting to build muscle and shifting her lifestyle habits for life. Ashley has PCOS and tried a microdose of tirzepatide after her husband, who is a doctor, suggested that it could help with her symptoms, and she was able to get off of her spiralactone medication that she was previously taking for her PCOS. Andrea has been on tirzepatide for 6 months now and says it's been an answer to her prayers. She can quiet the food noise and stick to her macros and continue lifting to feel her best. Julia was on one of the first rounds of semaglutide, and she didn't like how it made her feel. She decided to wean herself off because she didn't like being on medication, and it did make her feel sick. I wanted to try to get you a sample of a lot of different firsthand experiences so you can make your own decision for yourself. I'm in no way pushing people to get on this medication. My goal is to educate and then let you decide what's best for you. I'm not a medical professional and I have no medical background. So as always, please speak to your trusted medical provider if you have questions. Let's learn together. This is Alyssa's story and her personal experience with semaglutide. Alyssa, how are you? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. People might not know that when did we meet? We were in
It's been 20 years.
Middle school,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's been 20 years, almost 20 or over 20 years, I think.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
Wow.
That's so fun. Okay, so I'm really excited for you to share your story with my followers because I was trying to get clients who have had experience on GLP-1 medications and just get some raw, real experiences. What were your symptoms? What did you feel? Are you glad you did it? Are you still on it? Did you wean off? And we'll just kind of talk about your journey to help our followers see if this is something that can help them or if maybe they're like, no, I don't need it. I can do it on my own. So we're here to educate. I'm so grateful that you are going to share your story. Let's first give people a little bit of a background of who you are, what you do, where you're at.
Starting from the beginning, I'm a mom. I married my high school sweetheart. I had 4 babies in 4 years and a pregnancy in there. So from starting in 2013, I had my oldest 2014, my next 2015, a D&C in 2016, my next in 2017, and then my baby in 2018. So for 6 years, I was just pregnant every year, which takes a toll on your body. I come from like a health, I was a college cheerleader. I was an all-star cheerleader. I cheered all growing up. So like health was really big in my life, but then like becoming a mom, it took over my whole body. So I don't feel like I was fully out of postpartum until my baby was maybe like 4 or 5 years old. And then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, now it's time to like get my health back and get back on my health journey. So that
Well,
was
and
back.
your poor body, like 4 babies and like that's insane. Your
It
poor body's,
was a lot.
your hormones are probably all over the place.
All over the place. I was just pregnant and we were moving all over. We had moved in that like 6 years. I think we had moved maybe 8 times. My husband was in grad school. It was just like
Wow.
when you think of like motherhood in the thick of it, I was in the thick of it for like
Yes, you were.
probably like 8 years until my baby was like,
Mhm.
even now I feel like I'm in the thick of it, right? But different. But yes, just like I wasn't over my body and my health for a little there because it was all just focused on kids. And you kind of lose yourself as a mom. You kind of like
Mhm.
lose yourself a little bit. And I hit 2020 and I started taking my body back. A lot of people hated COVID. I loved COVID because I was able to like refocus on myself. My husband was home and I was like, if I'm going to be home, I'm going to run every day. Right. And I'm going to
Yeah.
gym. Um, and a lot of times I had little kids, so I would put all my kids into my car and I would drive to a church parking lot and I would put on like a movie on my phone and I would run in the church parking lot with my kids in the car because that I didn't have childcare.
You're
And
amazing. You
that's what
are amazing.
but it didn't that's kind of like what slowly started my health journey. But then in 2020, what are we in 2024? 2021, I was like, I'm gonna get in good shape and then I'm going to get a mommy makeover. And that's kind of like what started.
But that was probably your motivation was because you wanted to get that mommy makeover.
Yes, 1,000%.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's kind of what started it all. And in my mind too, like you hear mommy makeover and you're like, I'm going to get a mommy makeover and then I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. No, all my mommy makeover did was it fixed my abs, my diastasis recti. It got rid of my extra skin because I had a lot of it from having all those pregnancies. And I fixed my chest because they hung all the way down my belly button. Right. So I
Right.
fixed
Right.
my physical appearance, but nothing else changed. And I needed to get my health back. And that's when I started with the shots. And that's kind of what started everything. But pregnancy, mommy
Okay.
makeover. And then I was like, okay, now I need to get my health ahead of me and like
Yeah.
get on my
So
health journey.
what made you feel like you wanted to do the shots?
So
Kind of how did you
a lot of people were doing them. Like there were a lot of people have
Mhm.
started to do them, but I had gone into my plastic surgeon and I was like, I was a follow up and I was like, yeah, I got a little roll here, a little rollage here. And he was like, you don't need surgery. What you should try is
Yeah.
shots that everyone's trying. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, you should try it. Work with my PA and she'll help you and dose you and start taking your health back. Like, you don't need, like,
Mhm.
he's like, yeah, you could go and get a little lipo or whatever. But he's like, start like taking your health back. And I
Start
was like,
here. Yeah.
and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. So I got on the shots. I got on the shots last March. So March 2023 and started slow. So I think one of your questions was like, what was the dosage? I started really low. I think I was like at 10 units and I worked hand in hand
Okay.
with my PA. Um, and every couple weeks I increased my units. I think only
Mhm.
by like 5. And it was like
Mhm.
slow. And every 6 weeks I met with the girl at the office. And we were like, okay,
Okay.
this is what you weigh. How are you feeling? Do we need to wean off? Should we go more? Um, and she was very like involved in what I was doing, which I really like because a lot of people go get the shots and then they never talk to anyone ever again.
Yeah, and they're just told after 4 weeks up and then 4 more weeks up again and I'm like, "Well,
What if they're still losing? Why would you keep upping? Like, I feel like you have to be working hand in hand with someone,
Yeah.
or that feels very irresponsible to me.
But so I started in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So I did it for like a good 9 to 10 months, right? Is the end of March.
Okay. Walk
I
me through what you felt like beginning, like walk me through kind of
in the beginning,
symptoms and how.
my biggest symptoms really were like nausea, not like I was nauseous. And
Okay.
I felt
All
like
the
I was
time or
like I was pregnant. Like if I didn't eat,
okay.
I would get nauseous, and if I ate too much, I would throw up. Like
Okay.
I was like teetering on this, am I bulimic? Right? Like because you eat
Yeah.
too much, then you throw up. And like
Yeah.
and that was Ben would get so frustrated because he's like, listen to your body because you keep like if you eat too much, you're gonna throw up, right?
Right.
Um so those were my biggest things. I never really had any problems with like constipation or like stomach cramps or like anything like that. But mainly it was just like if I didn't eat, I'd get sick. And if I ate too much, I would throw up. And so
Mhm.
it was just like knowing my body and like eating small meals throughout the day. But a lot of times, like on these shots, you forget to eat and like you
Yeah.
don't. And that's why people are losing all their muscle, all this weight because you don't eat. So,
Well, and I think that's the danger is because it's so motivating to see the scale go down, but they're
mhm,
not realizing what's going on internally, that it's like, no, half of that is lean muscle mass that you need for your metabolism health.
totally
So that's why I'm like, okay, I have to educate people. I have to educate them. Like, if you're gonna do it,
do
let's
it the
do it
right
a
way.
healthy way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like it's a mind trip, right? Like I was even texting Ben this morning and I was like, man, I would really love to be where I was in December. But where I was in December wasn't healthy. I was like
Right.
skin and bones and I had lost all my muscle. Was I skinny?
Right.
I was so skinny. But
Did you
is that
feel good?
healthy? Like no, like it's just this weird because you like want to be like, but I was so skinny and like the scale was so, but like I was not fit and I was like tired and you're just like kind of sunken. Where
Yeah.
now, like, do you have time? Can I show this picture really
Yeah.
quick? I don't even know if I can show this.
Show it.
I showed this to my sister. My sister was just in town and I was like, this is me at my lowest weight, which was in December. And this is me now. So obviously I'm tiny, but I had lost
Yeah.
all of my muscles. This is me just
Yeah.
like um maybe 15 pounds heavier, but I have gained all my muscle. Like look at my bum, right?
And I
Like
was just gonna say your butt. I was just gonna say, look, you have like such a cute shape. You have
yeah,
like, I can tell that you
yeah.
are healthier.
I'm 10 times healthier. I had lost all my muscle. I'd lost everything, but I was skinny.
Mhm.
But now I'm like muscly and thick and like I have energy and like I look at myself and I'm like, holy crap, like I have muscle. So
Yeah.
on that note, so I got off semaglutide in December and I had to. I was having heart surgery in January and so I had to get off of all
Was the heart surgery wasn't because of semaglutide, right? That was something
heart surgery was
previous.
just from years of problems that just got caught up all to
Okay.
me. And when I had my like heart monitor on, like I had like a mini heart attack in November. And so they're like, yeah, we're gonna, figure this out. But they didn't figure it out in January and I had to go back in again in March.
Do they correlate that at all to semaglutide?
No, they more correlate it to like this could be worsened because of COVID.
Oh, interesting.
So I
Okay.
mean, I always had heart stuff, but then it got really bad.
Mhm.
It's actually like all that's a whole different podcast, but
Maybe
it's
we need a podcast for your
heart stuff,
for
heart
your
rate.
heart stuff. Okay, sorry, keep going.
But that's a whole nother thing. Anyways, because I had gotten off semaglutide for surgery, And then January, February, March, all I could do was lay in bed. Like I wasn't allowed to work out. I was like depressed, and I had gotten off semaglutide. So naturally, what am I doing? Like,
yeah, it's like a
consuming.
recipe for disaster. How did you feel when you got off of semaglutide? I wanted to know, like, did your cravings come back full force? Were you
No,
starving, or was it kind of like you just like, tell me what you felt once
I
you
could
weaned
tell.
yourself off?
I could tell like an increase of appetite. I love eating. I could
Mm-hmm.
eat all day, and I've worked hard on like knowing my hunger fullness cues and stuff, but I don't have them. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love to eat. That's why I really did love being on semaglutide
Yeah,
because I
what were the good part? Like, tell me the bad symptoms and the good symptoms, you know?
yeah, the bad, I mean, we've kind of talked about bad, right? I
Yeah.
was nauseous all the time. I needed to like make sure I was eating. And then I lost all my muscle, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I was more tired than normal.
Okay.
Um, but the good, like it literally quieted all of my, like I wasn't a muncher, like at night, because I do photography, right? So at night I'm editing, and I typically will be like munching on stuff. But when I was on semaglutide, I wasn't munchy. Um, I would get full, and I like could acknowledge that my body was telling me I was full, which was awesome. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so getting off of it slowly, I didn't get off of it slowly. I got off of it abruptly, and I could tell all those came back full force. Plus, again, I was in bed. I had just had surgery. I was like
Right.
loaded from surgery. Like my first surgery was like, I don't even know, 8 hours long. So getting on like having surgery and getting off semaglutide and not being able to work out kind of just like all piled on. And I gained weight fast back. Like I lost about 85 pounds. And then
Wow.
I gained about 25 pounds back in like 3 months.
Okay.
20.
Which
No, I think
actually
20.
statistically, I've heard statistically that you gain 2/3 of your weight back. So that's exactly what. So they say like it's possible. They say 1/3 to 2/3 of your body weight, you can stats show that you would gain it back, but not everybody does, you know, not
Mhm.
everyone. And if they've changed their lifestyle, and I bet if you didn't have that surgery and you didn't have to be in bed and you were just laying around, I wonder if you would be able to kind of keep those habits going, because look at you now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So once I got cleared after surgery to like, okay, it was like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks after. So April, I was like, okay, I'm going, and I'm gonna hit hard, and I'm gonna go. I got back on semaglutide for a second because I was like, I needed to kind of just like reset my body, which it didn't do anything. Like I did it for like, I don't know, 4 weeks, and I was just like, okay, I don't want to get bones again.
Mhm.
Um, so that's when I kind of was like, I need to like get on a good program. I need to try something else. So I have been on Samoralin, which
Mhm.
Samoralin is another one of these kinds of shots. It's a lot less intense.
For people
Um,
that don't know, Samoralin is a peptide, just like GLP-1, but it's very mild and it helps increase your HGH hormones so that you can actually build muscle. So Samoralin is tons of benefits with Samoralin and
so many
no
benefits.
side effects.
So great. Everything about Samoralin is great. It helps quiet a little bit of my food noise. I'm still munchy. So I still have the agency to choose because it's my choice
Mhm.
whether I indulge
Mhm.
in my snacking, right? Um, but Samoralin helps build the muscle mass, helps me sleep, which semaglutide didn't do. Um, helps increase sex drive. Doesn't help increase
Mhm.
sex, just sex drive. um, but yeah, so I've loved being on this option as well. So
Yeah, that's amazing. So you've been doing my program. You've been doing my Body by Bree program. Your results are insane. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk
it's
about how amazing
it's
you
been
look, you feel, your strength.
all
Like,
of
let's talk about that.
If I could eat better, and you lay it out, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful food program. All the health stuff. If I could eat better, I would look like you.
You do. You look amazing. What are you talking
I feel
about?
incredible. So in 10 days, I will hit my 6th month mark of working out 6 days a week,
That's amazing.
which I've
That's
never,
amazing.
I'm not even that consistent of like reading scriptures. Like I'm not that consistent in like not eating sugar, but
Yeah.
I've traveled to like 4 different countries, probably like 8 different states. I've gone on a vacation. I've moved across the country. In the last 6 months, and I have been consistent, and I'm super proud of myself. But
Well,
you're
I love that.
phenomenal.
Aw, thanks. What did you love about it?
I love that I can do it anywhere, right? That I have it at my hand, and that like a lot of times when I was in Spain, like we didn't have gyms. They don't have gyms out there. And I would pull up like I feel like I could customize it to where I was, or like you had it all set up and I could like do it a certain way to still get the workout, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
didn't need to do it exactly like it. It's awesome if I could, but it gave me like options and stuff like that.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and with you, we were really working on trying to speed up your metabolism. I remember you were like, this is too much food. I can't eat all this food. Like, I'm not used to this. And I'm like, Alyssa, we got to speed up your metabolism because I promise when you start lifting, you're going to start getting hungrier and hungrier. And we need to practice hitting the macros so that when you become more hungry, you know how and what to eat. And so I love seeing you reverse diet. I love seeing you build muscle, have all this energy, feel stronger, and your body looks amazing. Like you can tell that you're a fit, healthy person. And that makes me really, really happy. And what's really cool is I know you said that the semaglutide kick-started your journey, but what I love to see is that you took the healthy habits and ran, and you're like, okay, I'm going to work out 6 days a week and I'm going to lift heavy and I'm going to make these changes for life. And I really look up to you for being like, I'm going to get off of this and I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to have the agency to choose. And you are doing amazing. And I'm really proud of you. And it's super inspiring, super, super inspiring.
It's nice to hear that. It's been an interesting thing as I share about it like on Instagram and stuff, because I get messages daily that are like, I've started to go to the gym every day because you post that you're at the gym every day, and I've been starting to and like, things like that really do motivate me. And then I'm like, okay, if I can keep going, then maybe that encourages somebody else to go. Or if like, why am I even crying? But if there's like a mom, right, that's like, I'm in the thick of this and this is really hard. Like, it gets better. I promise. Throw your kids in the car and go for a walk, or put a movie on and walk around your house, and just start little, because it gets better. And I don't know. A lot of people too, I'll run into, and they're like, oh, if I could just get that mommy makeover. And I'm like, yeah, but like that's not going to change everything for you. What's going to change is your health habits. The mommy makeover was great, and I'm so grateful and blessed that I was able to go get that done. And I realize it's a huge advantage and like something that everybody can't get done. And I'm grateful for it. But what changed was like my health journey. And I really am so grateful for semaglutide. I am like, it really kicked everything. Like it showed me that I could do this. It kickstarted everything. It gave me confidence. Like I am so much more confident in just like my body. Would I do it again? I would do it again. because I feel
That
like,
was going to be my question.
yeah,
What do you feel?
I would do it again. I would, like, if I needed to get my body back in shape and there was one way to do it, like, I would do it again because it just
Well,
kickstarted everything for me.
Well, and motivate or results are motivating. So, like, as you start seeing that progress, then you're like, well, what else can I do? Okay, maybe I can work out and maybe so I can totally see that. I think, like you said, the importance of the mental component as well, and making sure that, like, for me, I would love to support people that are on it because I think they need that mental component. They need the, like, you're lucky because you're an athlete, right? Like, you have that drive, you have the goal setting, you have that motivation and the determination because you're an athlete. But a lot of people don't, and they don't know how to turn it on like you did. And so it would be cool to help people who are on it to be like, okay, now let's life coach you. Let's change these habits and let's, like, see where your self-sabotaging habits are coming from. And then when they see that skinny version of themselves, like, but remember, you didn't feel good.
Yeah.
So, like, let's find your happy balance where you feel good. You've lost weight. So I do feel like my perception is starting to change a lot. I'm seeing the benefit of it. And I'm also seeing a lot of clients that have struggled with weight their entire life. Like you said, it's just like their brain chemistry is off. I have seen that. And, like, it's been a life struggle. And then they get on, like, small doses of tirzepatide or semaglutide. It's given them just enough to not white knuckle anymore. And then they get that momentum. And then they're like, okay, I can lift, I can hit my macros. And so for a while, I was super against it. I was like, no, we're not trading being healthy for being skinny. No, 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 no. But I see that there's a way to do it in a healthy way and that there is a benefit out there, like, for people. There is. And it's one of the largest weight loss studies ever in history. And so for the FDA to approve it, I do think that there are healthier ways to do it and incorporate it with lifting, hitting protein, hitting fiber. So anyway, as
Yep.
I talk to people more too and hear their personal experiences, like, I'm glad that you were able to have that kickstart you. And if it led to where you're at now, that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Like,
I'm grateful. Again, like, I wouldn't say it's easy. Like, I mean, I was, like I said, I was texting Ben today and I was like, man, if I could just be blah, 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 like I was in December, but also be fit. But, like, I don't want to be that, but, like, I do. It's just this constant mind game.
yep.
I'm the strongest and healthiest I've ever been, ever in my entire life. Like, I'm so grateful for the mommy makeover. I'm grateful for semaglutide. I'm so grateful that I was able to get those heart surgeries because I couldn't breathe or function. And now I can, like, run and walk upstairs and not feel like I'm going to faint, which then kickstarted me into working out. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for your program. I'm so grateful for, like, the workouts and for, like, helping me get to where I am. If I could just stop eating lobster rolls out here every day.
Oh my gosh, and the blueberry pie.
I'm
She just moved to Maine, like,
and, like, it's
what, a
Lobster
couple weeks
Fest.
ago?
Yeah, and, like,
Oh,
it's Lobster Fest and, like, the lobster ravioli at the grill up the street is, like,
yum,
so
yum.
if I could just, like, pull back a teeny what I've decided is I don't need to
Yeah.
eat out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can just go to dinner. So I have my
Find your balance.
but it's fine. I am the
Well,
healthiest version of myself right now, and I'm enjoying living in Maine, which I
yep.
feel great and I'm happy, and so,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Well, and I will say, anytime you lose a significant amount of weight, it is a mind game because even when I was competing, I remember feeling like it was golden handcuffs. I was like, I look so good, but I'm 10% body fat. Like, I lost my period. I can't keep this up forever. But you do have this part of your brain that always looks back and is like, but damn, I look good. So you're like, but then you're like, but I was miserable.
And,
Like,
like, I had
no.
no butt. That was ugly. I was literally like I what I weighed in December was what I was as a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I'm tall. I'm 5'11",
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
being under 150 pounds at my height, I was just like, bones. Why do I want to look like
Yeah.
bones? I don't
Yeah.
want to look
Yeah.
like that. I want to look how I look now, which
Yeah.
is I'm
Healthy.
like thick, but I'm like
Okay, you're not thick.
like
You're not thick. You're just comparing yourself to your skinniest. You look amazing.
you'll like this. Ben was doing bicep curls with the cable. He was doing 100, and I was like, I can do that. And he's like, there's no way.
100?
And I was like,
No.
I went over there, freaking just started bicep curling 100. I'm like, I'm lifting. What
That's
you're
amazing.
lifting. Like it feels great. So
I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
That has to be the best feeling. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that you could share your story and just give a little more insight to, maybe this could be a blessing for people, and as long as they do it responsibly and they're working with a physician and they're eating enough food. I always tell my clients that are on it, like, you have to, what we'll do for our clients is we will calculate their base metabolic rate and say, if you can't hit this, you're on too high of a dose. If you're not at least hitting your base metabolic rate, you will lose muscle, and it will be bad when you get off.
Mhm.
Because now, like the back, I'll give you like a quick blurb, but the science behind it is your muscles, your metabolism, as you know, because we've talked about this a lot. And if you're losing muscle, too much muscle, and then you get off, now your metabolism's shot. Then your appetite comes back, but you don't have the muscle to burn through the food. And that's where people get in trouble. But if you can taper and do it slowly and keep your muscle mass and lift and hit your base metabolic rate and hit your protein numbers, you shouldn't lose that much muscle and you could look amazing. So, anyway, that's how we train our clients that are on GLP-1s. And then we also are trying to help them reverse out. Like if you get off of it and you're so low, we have to help you reverse slowly or you will gain the weight back very quickly.
You will.
So that's another tool.
100% you will gain it back. So like you said, doing it smart. And there is a way.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it.
Yay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited for you. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being vulnerable. And why don't you tell everybody your handle if they want to follow you on Instagram and see your workouts?
My handle's Alyssa's _favorites. So ALYSSAS _favorites. You'll see I post every single day, pretty much the workouts I'm doing with Bree. And kind of just staying accountable there. I'm also an open book. So if you have any questions and you DM me, I will answer anything from mommy makeover questions to semaglutide questions to health questions. All there.
Yep. And if you want questions on Body by Bree, she's the best. She always posts all of our workouts, like what she's eating. She's awesome. She's so cute. People will love you because you're real and honest and you're relatable. That's why I love you. I love following you. I think you're very motivating. I think you're the cutest mom. I love that you're real. You say it how it is. There's no like pretending to be something you're not. Like what you see, this is Alyssa. I really love that about you.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Have such a good week.
Hey, thank you.
This is Ashley and her personal experience with microdosing tirzepatide for PCOS. Ashley, I'm so excited you are letting me interview you. Ashley is my sister, and she's one of the people that really inspired me to look into GLP-1s for other reasons than just weight loss, because I want you to kind of tell your story. First, before we tell your story, tell us a little bit of background of you. Like you're a mom. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a mom. I love to work out. I've always worked out. I've always eaten healthy, but I love food. And I just my main thing is nutrition. Like if I had a hobby, it would be exercising and food.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Exercising and eating would
Like
be
I
your
work
hobby.
out hard so I can eat more food.
Yep. Yep. Sounds about right. That's our family. And you have 4 kids.
Yeah. I have 4 kids. I love hiking. I love the outdoors.
Okay.
And I
So,
love being with my sister.
yeah, I'm the best. No, I'm just kidding. So, just to give a little background, Ashley, because you can't see this because it's a podcast. So, Ashley is super fit, very healthy. She works out every day. She's like the epitome of health, but she has PCOS. So, tell people what it's like with PCOS. What are some of the symptoms that you feel when you have PCOS?
I just feel bloated, kind of like I gain a lot of water weight. And I think the main thing is, you'll have like worse periods, um,
Like,
like thicker hair growth. It's like a lot of hormonal stuff. But the number one thing I notice the most is I crave sugar like crazy. Like I'm an addict to sugar. And no matter how hard I try to stop that noise chatter of the sugar and the carbs, like I can't.
yeah. Well, and you told me like you felt like your body was inflamed all
Yeah.
the
Like I was
time.
always bloated. Like
Yeah.
every single night, my stomach was bloated out,
Yeah.
probably because of all the sugar and the carbs
Yeah. so
and the hormones.
so tell us, I wanted Ashley to come on the podcast because after researching GLP-1s for the last 4 months and talking to the experts, I'm seeing that there are a lot of other benefits besides just weight loss, and that for PCOS, it could really relieve symptoms of PCOS. And um, Ashley, you're on spirulactone for your PCOS, right? Or I guess you were.
Yeah, I've been on spiralactone for years. That's helped with my bloating, but it's still there, which means if I wasn't on it, it would be even worse.
Okay, so tell us how you kind of got started being interested in maybe trying tirzepatide for your PCOS symptoms.
Well, I was just like everybody else since I worked out hard and, I ate healthy. I was like, oh, I'm never going to try that because I wasn't educated on it. I didn't know anything about it, just from what I've heard from people who have been on it. But my husband's a doctor, so he actually received a sample of it. And he said, I'm going to look into this to see if it will help you. And so he did a lot of research on it. And as he did his research, he found that it would help with my PCOS. And he said, you should just try it and just do the microdosing and see if it helps. And so when he told me that, we'll just try the smallest amount and just see if it helps with your bloating and your hormone stuff and your sugar cravings. And so that's kind of what made me try it because we got it for free.
Yeah. And also, what I learned about PCOS is that it is a cousin to type 2 diabetes. They're both insulin resistant issues.
Yes, 1000%.
So you feel super inflamed, bloated. You have a hard time digesting your insulin and managing your insulin, and then that
Yes.
affects your hormones.
Yes.
So then what happened when you tried the microdose? How did you feel? And you were really scared to try it. She was
Yeah,
like, I'm
I
terrified.
I'm healthy. I'm a health nut. And
Yeah.
so the thought of injecting myself with something was actually really scary until my husband said, "Will you inject yourself with Botox?" And
He has a good point. He
I was
has a
like,
good
that's
point.
true. And then he said, and you also take spironolactone, which is a drug.
Yeah.
This is just you're taking it differently than swallowing
And
it. You're
these are
just,
peptides that your
yes, which
body
is
naturally
actually
produces.
better for you. So I was uneducated. I didn't know anything. Then when he educated me on it, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. And all I can say is I told my sister, I want to sell this to every single person out there. Like I felt like I know every woman has always thought that has a food addiction or, loves chocolate, loves the chips, loves the crackers or whatever, the noise chatter stopped. And it was the coolest thing in the entire world. Every night I would be thinking, what am I going to have for my treat? What am I going to, and I would try to have all these healthy options and I would eat that first and then it wouldn't satisfy me. And then by the end, I was eating a bowl of cereal. And then finally I felt satisfied, but I didn't even realize that I hadn't been eating those treats. Like I had a stash that I would eat every night. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it tonight. Like that has never happened in my entire life. And it literally just stopped the noise chatter of wanting to have that sugar and feeling that addiction. And that's when I wanted to scream it to the rooftops. And I had no side effects whatsoever, none. Like I had more energy. I woke up or at night, my stomach was flat. My stomach had never been flat at night. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. But then I realized was the foods also that were causing the inflammation, the sugars, the flour, like, the
All the
carbs.
processed carbs.
Yes, that was also contributing. But I would still get that sometimes, even not eating that, which I
Even
think
when you would
is,
eat broccoli or healthy
yeah,
foods or your
yeah, like,
salad, like
yes,
you couldn't digest
everything.
it.
Yeah. And I literally have never felt better in my entire life. Like, I have so much energy. I'm not tired. Like,
I remember
I'm,
you saying you felt like your inflammation in your body went down too.
yeah, yeah, it totally went down. Like, everything that was the problem went away. And then I was so worried about those side effects. And my main worry was that I wouldn't want food because I
Mhm.
love food. And so I was worried that, oh my gosh, well, I don't want to like not eat because I've heard some people when they're on higher doses, they don't want to eat food, but I still wanted to eat food. It still tastes good for me, but I could turn it off. I
Yeah.
could eat a couple bites of ice cream and then be done. Like my brain's like, you don't want that anymore. And it was the coolest. And every woman has said, I wish that they could invent something that made you feel satisfied. And they did.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool and I love it.
Well, and what I like, because I've been watching this journey and I'm like, okay, I love that you are still lifting weights every day. You're still
Oh,
working
I'm
out.
doing
You're still
everything.
hitting your protein. You're still
Yeah.
hitting your macros.
The
Like
only
you're
thing
not
it
not
did was,
eating.
yeah, it just cut out all the crap. The sugar, it cut out the thing that I had a problem with.
Yeah. And didn't you say that you got off of your spirulactone now
Yeah, I
because
haven't
you
taken
felt
my
so good?
spironolactone. And that was the other thing is I didn't want people judging me that I was on this um like for weight loss. It wasn't necessarily, I mean, the weight loss is always a plus. There's
Yeah.
no woman who wouldn't want to lose a couple pounds,
Right.
but it was mainly the food addiction and the sugar addiction. I also have a food one too, but the sugar of always wanting it, and it made me feel tired. It made me feel, it messed with my hormones. Everybody knows sugar is not good for you.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing that was really, really cool for me. And I don't have to go on sugar bets anymore.
Well, and like we were talking about this before, that when you're not eating the sugar and all the junk, then your gut health is better. And so now
Yes.
you have more clarity. And now, like you said, you're not feeling bloated, you don't feel inflamed. Then
I
you're
don't feel
all,
foggy.
yeah, and
I have
then you're
more
more,
energy.
and probably sleep better too, because you're not eating all that sugar right before
Yep.
bed.
Yep.
And then I feel like too, it makes you feel more motivated to continue those healthy habits. So maybe someone who wasn't working out as hard before, now they're like, I feel so good. I want to eat healthy. I
Yeah.
want to work out.
Well, I have more energy to work out because
Yeah.
I'm not being bogged down by all the crap I ate. And the weekends were the worst for me.
Yeah.
Every Monday, I would try to work out. The one thing is that I would do though is I would be like working out for 2 hours on Monday because of all the crap I ate on the weekend. And I'm not eating all that crap on the weekend now. And then Monday comes around, I'm like, I think I can work out for an hour because I don't need 2 hours.
Yeah. So do you feel like it's actually helped your relationship with food?
Yeah, definitely. for sure.
Interesting. So, what were your fears going into it? And
My
then,
fears were having side effects.
okay, what was the biggest fear of what side effect were you scared of
Just
most?
because I'm healthy, I don't have
Yeah.
anything wrong. So I was just like, what if I get constipated, or what if I can't go to the bathroom, or what if I mess something up? What if my hair starts falling out or whatever? But sugar can do all that to you too.
That's true. And
And
eating really bad food all the
yeah,
time.
it can make you constipated. And
Yeah. And
so, and
nauseous and
yeah,
groggy.
but I've had none of those. So
Because I feel like we do need to clarify, people won't understand the dosing. So Ashley is taking half of the starting dose. So that's considered a micro dose, is when you do half of the starting dose. And they call it a longevity protocol, where you're not necessarily doing it for extreme weight loss or even for a lot of weight loss. It's more that longevity and the inflammation and the PCOS symptoms.
1,000%.
And you haven't increased that 10
No.
milligrams. So she's not even at the base that you start at normally.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. When we say these lower doses or this micro dose, it is a half of the beginning dose. And so it really is just that tiny little part that helps. Oh, maybe I'm full. Like maybe I don't need that, or maybe I don't crave that sugar. It's not
And you're
making you not
satisfied.
eat. Yeah. And make you feel satisfied. And I think that's the biggest piece, is that people are thinking of Ozempic and people who are obese, and then they starve themselves, and then they lose muscle mass and hair, and they don't look good. They look like they're dying, right? Because they're
Yes.
malnourished.
Yes.
So let's talk about like the stigma of it. Like when you tell people, do you feel like you have to explain yourself
Yeah.
because you don't want to look stupid? Like,
Yeah. Well, and I
I'm
don't,
not on Ozempic. Like, I'm not
yeah.
trying to lose weight. Like,
Or like I'm cheating and I'm not doing the work, because I am still doing the work.
yeah, exactly. So, what would you say to someone who is maybe 20 pounds overweight? They are tracking macros, they are going to the gym every day. And let's say, because for me, I'm always like, for sure, first try a blood test. Because we have a friend that wants to try this, but I feel like they already undereat. And so I'm like, no, wait, let's see what's going on in your body first. Because maybe
Yeah.
it's
Well,
your estrogen,
everybody's
or
different.
yeah, it could be your testosterone levels or your estrogen. So I always suggest doing a blood test first to make sure that it's not like sex hormones, because that's
Yes.
foundational. That's number one. But
Yes.
if everything else is looking good and you're doing everything right, what would you say? Would you recommend it to that person who's like, I am doing everything right. I am lifting. I am doing it all.
I want everyone to be on it.
Ashley's loving life.
I said I want to be the sales rep of this stuff, and I want to go sell it to everybody because it's amazing.
Yeah. And I think because Ashley's on such a low dose that she really doesn't have any side effects. Like some people might have side
Yeah,
effects
that is
when,
true. And that is true. And if they don't have PCOS, it might be different with them.
yeah. And once you, like, this is just Ashley's,
Yeah,
this is
my
Ashley's
experience.
experience. But when you do start increasing into those higher doses, people do start feeling nauseous. They do start feeling constipated. So it's very individualized. And I do feel like the most important thing to know is that you have to make sure that you are listening to your body and working with a physician so that
Doctor. Yes,
a doctor can help you
yes,
dose correctly,
1,000%.
because and we're not doctors, so we're not telling everyone to do it. We're just
We're just
joking.
telling you, I actually am not telling everyone to do it. I just want to, because when you find something that works for you, you want other people to enjoy that experience.
Yeah. And you feel it's been such a blessing for you. I've seen you like thrive on it. So let's talk about your plan. Do you feel like you can do this long term since it's such a low dose, like a spirulactone that you just kind of take to keep
Yeah,
your PCOS
I
at
think
bay?
what I'm going to do, because I'm kind of cheap. So, you know, I think I'm gonna finish it out, because the 1 month supply that they gave me is actually gonna last me like 3 months because I'm taking such a small dose. So after the 3 months, I don't care. Any woman that got it for free was going to try it because
Right.
why not? So I just thought I'll try this for free. When I run out, then yeah, I might see what happens and just
But I
kind of
feel
see if
like,
it comes back.
because I feel like you were on spirulactone for years though. So could you
Yeah.
not be on a microdose and just have it help with your, because anytime you lower inflammation in the body, that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
that's really helpful. So I wonder, like, is it okay to do long term just like you would with your spirulactone? Because
My
this is
husband
a
said it
peptide.
is. My
Yeah.
husband said it is. It's just me being cheap.
Got it. Got it. It's more expensive than your spirulactone.
Yes, yes. Actually, no, it's actually about the same.
Well,
So
there
I
you
guess maybe
go.
not. Maybe I
So if
should
you
just
feel
stay.
better on this, then, like, that's what I really want to do, is like relieve the shame. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like people just don't understand that there are so many different ways to use this. And I think you're such a good example of being able to see the benefits of not just weight loss, because that wasn't even your primary thing. It's like you feel so much better without the inflammation in your body, without
Yeah.
eating all the junk,
Yeah.
without and you were telling me, like, the mental capacity of taking away
Yes.
constantly
It's
thinking about
so I
food.
can think of something else,
Yeah.
like serving people.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, no, but that's true. Like, we're joking, but that is true. Like, life is not about what you're eating and if you're being good and if you're eating the
Oh,
sugar
it's
and
like
are you white knuckling it?
yes, yes,
Are you being good on the weekends? Did you eat
yes.
too much that weekend?
Feeling
So,
guilty, feeling shame, all of that.
yeah.
It's amazing.
All right. So, last question. Do you have a message for any of our viewers who are thinking of doing it?
Well, I've already said it. I would definitely, I say try it. If it doesn't work for you, then stop. But it's
Right.
finding the right dosage. It's finding, the one that works with your body. It's just like anything. Everyone reacts differently. But I would just definitely say, what are you out? Just trying it, but definitely get your blood work done
Yeah.
just to make sure, but I feel like once it's out of your system, then it's gone. So,
Right. And my thought process too is like, make sure that you are willing to be lifting weights, hitting your protein,
yeah,
doing the
definitely.
foundational habits.
1000%.
So it's like a tool in your toolbox
Yes.
instead of you're just relying on that doing all the work. That's
Yes.
when you get in trouble and that's when you lose all your
Definitely.
muscle, and it can be.
Definitely. I am still, and I'm actually focusing because Bree told me focus on lifting and less cardio, even though I hate that. But I am focusing more on lifting now and making sure I get my protein in. And sometimes I might not want a protein shake, but I'll just make myself drink a Fairlife just so I know I got it in.
Or
So,
Body by Brie
I
protein or
mean,
organic grass fed,
yes.
because Fairlife is not the best. Makes you have
Yes.
a headache.
Actually, I'm starting to do breeze. I am doing it. It's just when I'm in a hurry. I was thinking when I'm in a hurry.
I'm
But yes.
kidding. I'm kidding. Fairlife is fine, but it's not as good for you as mine.
Yes. I vouch for that.
But yeah, so making sure you have those foundational habits, I think that's so important, because when people only rely on the medication and then they lose muscle and then they get off of it, that's when you have those really scary issues. So there's definitely a lot to think about, but I'm so grateful that you shared your experience, because I think a lot of people are in your boat and they just have so much guilt and shame that they're not dedicated enough or they're not disciplined enough. And they're like, what is wrong with me?
I just felt like I honestly had no willpower. Or you get tired of having the willpower. Like you
Yeah.
just feel like, I'm done,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
screw this. I'm
Yeah.
sick of trying.
Yeah. Well, I am so grateful, Ash. Thank you for sharing. I know it's like hard to be vulnerable, but also I feel like it's going to help so many people that either have PCOS or hormone imbalances or inflammation, or like you, where they feel like they're addicted to sugar and they're doing everything right. That little tiny microdose could really help. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you're doing this research and you've also helped me with all of your research. So,
good. I know every time I would read something or do an interview or listen to a podcast or do a workshop, I was calling Ashley like, okay, did you know this? Did you know this? Like, this is so
yeah.
crazy.
And I
It's
get excited for her to learn more about it.
Yeah. And one thing before we leave was a cool thing is that what I learned was that it's regenerative. So it's not just a Band-Aid masking your insulin resistance. It's actually helping your body to naturally produce GLP-1 so that your body is more efficient at regulating insulin, which is
That's even
fascinating.
better.
I
Yes.
know.
And I did not know that.
I know. It's really cool. So, all right. Thanks, Sash. I'll talk to you later. Love you.
Anytime. Love you.
This was part 1 of our client's experience on GLP-1 medications. If you're interested in part 2, we interviewed 2 more clients, Andrea and Julia. They talk about the pros and cons of being on GLP-1 medications, what they wish they knew, and what they were really experiencing as benefits. So if you'd like to learn more, listen to part 2.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. If you liked the content and want to hear more, remember to hit that subscribe button and write a review. As a small business owner, I appreciate it more than you know. If you are looking for a program to help with self-confidence, to lose weight, get in shape, and work on your mental, physical, and emotional health, check out my training programs on www.bodybybrie.com. My team and I help to hold you accountable through the Body by Brie app, where you log in to see all your workouts, custom meal plan made specifically for you and your needs, and communication through the messenger. You are never alone when you're on the Body by Brie training program. Click the link in the show notes to get more information on how to transform your life from the inside out.